Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, Lore and Frey, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. So it's been a couple of days now, like I think a week since like the news dropped regarding like the newest bits of Rekieta retardation, the Hedonism 2, the Masterson, like I suppose I'm calling it. Like this is like a disaster of epic proportions, right? Like Nick thinks he's going to downplay this, he thinks he's going to ignore it, he thinks it's going to go away, but I think this incident is going to mark the decline of the Rekieta Law channel. Like this is it. Like he's hit his apex, the peak of his YouTube career, and now he's in like the downward like trajectory. Like he's not going to recover from this. He has spent the past several years like building himself up as this like very personable, very like family oriented person, and now he's been exposed as being a complete degenerate. Essentially the same thing that happened to like Jack Murphy, as someone who he mocked relentlessly on stream. Something that I made fun of him for actually, because I thought it was ridiculous. I was always very against Rekieta talking about e-celebs. I was always very against him like focusing on like the manosphere or talking up what a Chad he was because he obviously wasn't, or like have talk, the endless sex talk, or like the culture war stuff. Like you should have been focused on covering legal topics. Like that's my thing about Rekieta. Like the reason like I distance myself from him, why I stopped watching his channel, like he made two, I think, very big critical mistakes. First of all, uh he doesn't give very good legal advice. Like his legal coverage is garbage. It's pure shit. He's essentially pandering to like to ridiculous neckbeard neats essentially who don't really understand the legal system, or like the ramifications of certain things, or how like certain things are can be expected to play out, and as a result of that kind of takes advantage. He takes advantage of the naivete, and pretends that certain things are likely to happen in order to garner interest in his terrible streams. Like that is Rekieta. He does terrible legal coverage. Now, second of all, and I think this is more relevant, and the thing that really like axed him, like in the end, like because I don't think most people really realize what a terrible lawyer Nick actually is. The second thing, the thing that killed him, I think, was he made the mistake of making the show about Nick Rekieta rather than like law explaining the interwebs, right? The show went from like being about covering legal topics to essentially talking about like whatever Nick is doing that day. Like, spending an hour talking about like his latest vacation, right? He takes one like every 90 days or some shit like that. Fucking idiot. Um, talking about his vacation, talking about like local restaurants, talking about like, you know, uh like weird incidents in his personal life, talking about like cucks, talking about like sex shit, like getting way too personal with the audience rather than like actually talking about the things that people actually were tuning in to see, like legal topics. Like he essentially thought that people were tuning in for him and not like the things he was covering, right? And as a result of that, like, and I think following the transition to other video platforms in the hopes of making more money, which is not going to happen, he's kind of lost, I think, a lot of his significant audience. And as a result of that, has become kind of a parody of himself, honestly. Like, we went from someone who would seriously, like, who would try to cover, you know, talk about certain things in a certain way to someone who's like indulging in like these degenerate lifestyles, like very that he's condemned in the past. Like it's interesting to see like Rekieta, uh, recently doing things that he condemned people for doing in like the distant past. Like Jack Murphy is the one that people are always bringing up, but I'm also like thinking of there have been a number of incidents, countless ones, where he specifically said, like, don't do this, don't do that, it's stupid, it's not going to help you. And he's doing it, doing the same thing now, and he's doubling down on it. He's damage controlling it. He's justifying it. He's trying to pretend that what he's doing is normal and healthy, and it's going to like revitalize his marriage or something. And even as an outsider looking in, I'm just shaking my head saying like, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not sure if this whole situation, I'm not sure where it's going to go because I haven't been paying attention to Nick since like, late 2020. I don't watch his live streams. I don't really care what he's doing. It's over. Like I'm not paying attention to him anymore. Like the only reason I'm talking about him now is because of this incident. Like I predicted this happening. Like I predicted the downfall of Nick Rekieta. Like I said that like yeah, I don't like the sex talk. I don't like the incessant I don't like the constant going off topic. I don't like ignoring critical key subjects that you should be talking about. Like I don't like the way the direction this is going. And of course, I and I know several other people were like promptly ignored in favor of like, appealing to the coomers and the degenerates and the late night shows. And like Nick has done everything he possibly can to like kind of justify his behavior. Like, oh, there are no trials to cover right now. Well, do something else. Like don't live stream. Like don't cover legal topics if there's no legal topics to cover. Like, make money doing something else. Don't be on the internet constantly like live streaming, complaining to your audience about like how you're being how people are being overly judgmental towards you for what you've done. It's it's embarrassing. It's pathetic, honestly. And like I think everyone I've seen like commenting on this section, I think most people agree. Like, I'm sure there are hardcore fans. I've had hardcore fans like in my comment section, like defending his actions, I should say. Nick's probably not going to watch this video. Uh, Defending his actions regarding this situation, but I think like we've gotten the ball rolling. I do think Nick is well on his way to becoming a lolcow in his own way because like he had like all this great momentum. Like it actually felt like he was doing something about like certain issues in like 2019, uh, in early late 2018 to 2019. But now he's kind of like become this like absolute joke of a person who's refusing to do what his audience wants him to do. Like it just comes off like he's not the person that people thought he was. Like it comes off like he's been disingenuous the entire time, and that like he was just, as others have noted, just grifting, just looking for those super chats, just looking to rake in the dosh. Like that's Nick, honestly. He is an e-celebrity who has never accomplished anything, will never accomplish anything, and honestly, it was kind of foolish of us, myself included, very included actually, that thought that honestly believed he would actually do something about like, Vic or any other topic he's covered. Like I do think I think going forward, people need to to like prevent themselves from like buying into the hype when it comes to like these kind of e-celebs because they're not on your side. They're not interested in doing anything like good or like improving things or like really putting themselves out there and like doing something great. They're mostly interested in just the grift. Like that's the reality of it. Like I've seen this over and over again. Gamergate is a great example. Like I'm just sick and tired of seeing this cycle happen, of just seeing this man of the people rise up and then kind of like devolve into just this mess that like isn't really appealing to anyone. Like it needs to stop. Like I think people need to have higher standards. I think people really need to like uh hold themselves accountable for like who they watch and who they give attention to and who they talk about, who they praise. Hopefully, I mean, I I'm not gonna lie. I think Rekieta has done a lot better, has done a lot more good than like people like Ethan Ralph or Medicare has. It's a big reason why I was so enthusiastic with him to begin with. But that doesn't change the fact that like he's done absolutely nothing. Like nothing noteworthy, nothing worth talking about, nothing worth paying attention to. Like the audience needs to move on. Like the Nick Rekieta audience, I don't know, the legal tubers, like whatever they call, like they need to move on. They need to stop watching. They need to stop paying attention to this guy, and they really need to like focus on like their own communities, their own lives, and like their own personal situations. Like watching some guy get drunk over the internet is not going to make your life better.